Hey everybody, this is Fireally, Smartdevon, and
Shadow Kane Isaac Mori, Jack Andreas Brandt, most commonly known as Shadow Mori.
yep. And today
That.
we are recording. Hey everybody, this is Fireally, Smartdevon, and
Shadow Kane Isaac Mori, Jack Andreas Brandt, most commonly known as Shadow Mori.
yep. And today
That.
we are recording the Mysteries of Hyrule episode 4. Today we are discussing time travel.
First topic we have is the Song of Storms, the one that everybody loves because it doesn't make sense. Alright, the Song of Storms is what is known as the predestination paradox. It can only exist because Link went back in time to teach it to Guru Guru after he learned it from Guru Guru because he teaches it from Guru Guru, who learned it from Link.
Also known as the Bootstrap Paradox.
Yes, I was going to bring that up, but it's so long. Would you like to explain that?
Well, it's the same thing, you just did.
Oh. Yeah, anyways, it's called the Bootstrap Paradox because it's from like a book called By His Bootstraps, where this guy finds a book about the future, he uses it to become rich, and then the book is almost about to die, so he copies it down, and that becomes the book. It's the same as the Song of Storms. There's also like a pot in Oracle of Ages that goes through the same process.
Or, you could just watch an episode of Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, Doctor Who.
That happened recently.
Alright, now, the Song of Storms is a paradox because it can only exist because it has existed already, and there is one exception to this, and that is Majora's Mask, where Link learns the Song of Storms from an actual source, being the Composer Brothers. So the theory here is that Link, after Majora's Mask, goes back to Hyrule and eventually somehow teaches the Song of Storms to Guru Guru. So when he goes through the future, he can learn the song from Guru Guru and start the paradox.
I would just like to point out that you are talking about the Termanian counterparts of the Composer Brothers. They wrote the Song of Storms, while the Hylian or Hyrulean counterparts wrote the Sun's Song, which is a nice little contrast.
There is one big problem with this theory, and that is the Zelda timeline. The adult timeline is the timeline in the future part of Ocarina of Time where Link is an adult. But Majora's Mask happens on the child timeline, which is weird because if in the events of Majora's Mask, the adult timeline won't ever happen, but that's the only origin of the Song of Storms, and we know that the Composer Brothers of Termina did write the Song of Storms. They wrote a song called the Song of Storms, so where did it meet Hyrule ever?
Okay, so here's the only thing that I can come up with that validates this is somebody else found their way to Termina.
Like Tingle.
Sure. Yes, like Tingle, except Tingle comes from Termina, which means that he would have to be the Hyrule, which is different, but whatever.
And Fireally, what's your opinions on this theory?
You can take any stance on this theory and really be right because of this loop and time paradox that coexist. It's a very interesting paradox.
Yeah, you could try and map this out. You could try and map this timeline out, and it would look like a bunch of scribbles on your paper. I might try and do that later. You could take any point in this and be right, but you could also take any point in this and be wrong, because there's always, for some reason, some way that this can't happen, because time is being erased and rewritten and erased and rewritten all the time in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, and then there's the thing where I don't have any point with this, but the thing where Link has to use the Master Sword to become a kid again at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, he has to pull out the Master Sword once, do all the stuff with the Forest Temple and the Water Temple and all that. But during the Spirit Temple, he has to go back to be a kid and then be an adult again. And then he becomes a kid again. So there's really, like, at least a 4-way split, depending.
Plus Majora's Mask, which is, I don't know what the record is for how few times you can reset.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
It doesn't
That's
count.
resetting. That's time goddess stuff, not time magic.
All right. Okay.
Trust me, I'm a professional.
A professional time traveler. Are you a Time Lord, Skimjab, Shadow Mori, Jack, etc.?
Morai.
Morai, right.
And no, I just used to do this stuff all the time.
Wonderful. The second theory that we have is the first Link. This is a Skyward Sword theory, and I know it's Fireally's favorite game. Let me tell you the plotline of Skyward Sword, in case, you've played it and didn't pay attention, or you haven't played it and haven't seen a walkthrough or anything. But anyways, hundreds of years before Skyward Sword, there was an ancient hero, garbed in green, who received the sailcloth from the goddess Hylia and slayed the ancient demon Demise. Zelda, who, spoiler alert, is the goddess Hylia reborn, gives Link the sailcloth. Link travels back in time 100 years with the sailcloth he received from the goddess and kills Demise. Translation: the goddess' chosen hero, Link of Skyward Sword, is the first Link that he learns about in Legends. Similar to the Song of Storms, but
Except more screwed up.
yeah. I suppose Link didn't have to know that legend to accomplish this, but it's still, I mean...
Did he even know? Because that would be... Did anybody except, like, old Impa know?
No, people knew, because Zelda gave Link the sailcloth, saying, "This is a replica of the sailcloth that the goddess gave to the hero, but it's not the original one. Haha, that would be stupid."
But it is.
Yeah.
This is the only time in the whole Legend of Zelda I think you actually see the general law of time travel of it already happened, meaning, just like it says, it already happened.
Yeah.
This sounds more like you're your own grandpa.
You're your own grandfather?
Kind of
Yes.
thing.
Oh, that's confusing.
Oh yeah, try watching Futurama.
You just get born and then you go back in time and marry your grandma. Ugh.
But the thing is she your grandma or is she not? That's the thing. Like,
Huh.
watch that one episode of Futurama, All's Well That Raw's Well.
There's a lot of time travel media around.
Oh yeah, time travel is a great topic.
That's why we're talking about it.
Exactly.
That's why I
So
came up
there
with
you
the
go.
general theories
The general theory.
and sent them off to Zeldathon to see if they could figure them out.
Oh, you submitted that as a trivia question? Alright.
Yeah.
Now I need to watch Zeldathon like 24/7 to see if I can see that. Alright, so my opinion on this theory, it is flawless. I love this theory, except for one flaw being the Master Sword. You remember at the end of the game, Link in the past replaces the Master Sword. Well, not replaces, he places it for the first time in the Pedestal of Time, in the Temple of Hylia, aka the Temple of Time. And he goes forward in time, and the Master Sword is still there. But when you go to the Temple of Hylia the first time, the Master Sword is not there. It is the Goddess Sword on your back. And now we're switching topics to the Master Sword. It should have been in the beginning of the game, but it's not.
So, okay, I'm gonna fast forward to Ocarina of Time. Okay, so currently in Skyward Sword, unless some weird magic happens, there are technically going to be 2 Master Swords at the end of the game.
Yes.
So in Ocarina of Time, one can only conclude if something didn't happen between Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time, which, what's the official timeline? Like 4 swords happens then?
4 swords and, what is it? A Minish Cap.
Right, well, that kind of goes without saying, but, so, if something didn't happen to that second Master Sword, like if it wasn't just the normal sword that was in the chest thing that got broken at the fleet of a hat, then there are going to be 2 Master Swords in the Ocarina of Time split, right?
Wait, hang on, go back. There would have been 2 Master Swords, except the Master Sword wasn't there, because we have the Goddess Sword, which will eventually be the Master Sword at the beginning of the game, but the Master Sword is not in the Pedestal of Time for some reason, even though Link places it there 100 years ago.
Right, so something happened in that time, and just go with there's 2 Master Swords, and something happened to the first Master Sword that we went back in time with, and it's just somewhere else.
But after you go back in time, you come back and the Master Sword's still there.
It's possible the Picori could have stolen it, just zapped the juice from it, and then Vadi broke it.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it's kind of lame. Really lame.
It is lame. It just popped into my head.
Well, it is weird.
Let me finish, because I have a really good point.
Yeah.
In Ocarina of Time, after the split, what happens to the Master Sword in the adult timeline? Link just disappears, and all of his gear, I would assume, disappears with him too.
The adult timeline is Wind Waker. It's the
Right.
Hyrule Castle for some reason.
Yeah, so why is it there?
That's...
Why is that sword there, and why has it suddenly lost power? My thing here, my theory here, is that during Ocarina of Time, there are two Master Swords, and just because time magic. This is the only explanation I can come up with. Time magic. There are two Master Swords because the Master Sword or the Goddess or whoever knew that at one point in time future on, there would be a Master Swordless split. So there are two Master Swords, so that when Zelda sends Link back in Ocarina of Time and removes all of his gear, there can still be a Master Sword for Wind Waker.
There's actually a theory to back this up that we have here, which is that the Pedestal of Time kind of takes a Master Sword out when a component of it or the Master Sword itself is nearby, but one should already be there, so it kind of takes it out of the time loop for the one that is currently there, and it's possible that with your theory that it could like replace it later on.
So Master Swords are constantly like coexisting and then not existing and then like fusing together and then disappearing and
No,
imploding.
just the two.
No. It's kind of like a Gachapon machine with only two Gachapon.
What's a Gachapon? I need to Google that.
Google Gachapon. How do you not know what a Gachapon is?
Gachapon.
You know those things that...
Oh yeah, those.
Yeah, okay, there you go. It's like a Gachapon machine with only two Gachapon. But that still leaves... There's two Master Swords in the child timeline.
Right.
Which, if you let me think about it for long enough, I could fix that too. But I didn't come prepared for that. Well...
There is... I'm thinking, okay, there is... Going back to Majora's Mask, every time Link goes back in time, he doesn't run into himself. He just becomes himself. So what if, when we travel through time, the Master Sword just becomes itself?
Alright, just so you know, this is the general time travel theory of reset, which is basically if you go back in time, everything goes back to the way that it was at that time period, and there's no duplicating or anything.
Now, we are assuming that the first Link theory is true, and that Link from Skyward Sword is the first Link originally. But what if that's not true, and time just, whenever he goes back in time, he places it there, and it will be there at the beginning of the game, but since it wasn't there in Link's timeline, he didn't grab it. So it is there in the beginning of the game, just it's not there at the beginning of the game because we haven't changed time yet. What theory is that?
The one where you divided by 0.
I think that's reset, yes.
That's pretty accurate, actually, dividing by 0, if you know the math of that.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. We're happy.
But I like to think that it's two different... I like to think that it's different depending on the method.
Yeah, perhaps like different methods of time travel will create different modes.
Segue.
Yeah, into... Alright, many worlds in the split. Every time someone travels in time, a new timeline is created. So this is supported by Ocarina of Time, and Link goes back in time. He creates the child timeline and the adult timeline. This explains why the Master Sword's absence in Skyward Sword, because Link is in another dimension by the end of Skyward Sword. This explains why the Tree of Life does not exist in Skyward Sword in the Temple of Hylia until Link plants it, because he goes into another dimension where the Tree of Life is there. This is exactly how the adult and child timeline are created. And another variation of this is that every decision we make already exists in an alternate timeline, and any possible outcome exists depending on the decisions you make. So the decision Ganon rules the world, that exists very, very much so. In fact, it's actually an official timeline, so that was a bad example, but that exists. It just depends on what you do, if you're going to exist in that world with it.
There has to be different rules to time travel depending on the method. There's nothing else, because this split is true for Ocarina of Time, but in Majora's Mask, it's different. And then where else do we time travel? Oracle of Ages, it goes back to the Skyward Sword method. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's probably closest to truth.
And then, to segue into the other thing that I was trying to go for at first, but the time shift stones that you were going to talk about.
Yes, time shift stones.
How come Link isn't turned into a fetus and then turned into a zygote and then just
Because that is bad level design.
yeah. But I mean,
That is true. I mean, if the time shift stones are especially weird because they do turn the bokoblins into like nothingness, and they do bring bokoblins back to life. They affect monsters, but not really
bokoblins.
bokoblins. You said
Bokoblin.
Mohora.
Yeah, well, my dad told me to say that forever since I was 3, so
Okay.
I'm set in my ways.
All right. We'll agree to disagree on the pronunciation of bokoblin and Majora.
Okay, how do you say moblin?
Moblin? I say
Moblin.
moblin.
Yeah, so why would it not be bokoblin?
I say Bokoblin.
I say bokoblin because that's how I read it when I played Skyward Sword.
Anyway,
Okay.
Actually, I misread it when I played Skyward Sword and called them Boblocklands or something. But that's not the point. Anyways.
Segue.
Yeah, segue. It could, for the time shift stones, it could just be because he's got the blessings of Hylia, or because he's got the goddess sword, or any other factors, because maybe he's the hero or something. But it's most likely because, I don't know, they just use different methods of time
A
travel.
wizard did it.
A wizard did it, yes. Link's a wizard. He might be a wizard, actually. He can use the Din's fire and everything, but...
Oh, that's I don't even want to get started on that.
Din's fire. Next episode, Din's fire. Anyways, I suppose the Ocarina of Time uses different methods of time travel itself. Well, I suppose the Ocarina of Time only uses the reset in Majora's Mask, because in Ocarina of Time itself, you really only use the Song of Time to open a door and move some blocks.
Yeah, see, here's the question. We know the ocarina is magical in it of itself because somebody says it somewhere. Why is it saying here?
Someone says it. Someone said so, therefore we know it's true.
I mean, it was like Zelda or Impa or a sage. I don't remember who said it, but somebody said blah 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 paired with the magic of your ocarina or something like that. I don't quite remember. But okay, the ocarina is magical in and of itself, but you know, you can play around with the ocarina all you want and you won't stumble upon a new song that does stuff.
Yeah.
And when you play the Song of Time in Ocarina of Time, all it does is move blocks and, you know, act as a password to the Door of Time. In Majora's Mask, it sends you back in time. You know, it never does that in Ocarina of Time. So there has to be some third party who does things.
I have a theory on that, and it's my personal theory, but I would be a big liar if I said I didn't bring a whole bunch of my personal theories into the show without telling anyone. It's not the magic. The song is magic, and the instrument is magic. But what if it's the intention of the user that actually determines what happens?
I mean, the attention of the composer would also play a piece.
Yeah.
That's okay, I guess. But my rebuttal to that is Link is stupid.
Yes, I mean, in Majora's Mask, the only reason you really play the Ocarina of Time is because you literally have nothing else to do when you get it back from Skull Kid and the moon is about to crush you.
You remember one song that Zelda told you. For some reason, you don't remember any of the other songs. For some reason, you know, even the ones you've had to learn before to complete your journey in the last
Yes,
thing.
it's a Epona song.
Well, Epona is 100% optional. I'm talking more Song of Storms, which you have to do in both games. But, well, it does say you recalled, but whatever. What was my point?
You recalled the Song of Storms, suggesting that it's now learning it for the first time in Majora's Mask, which means the Song of Storms is hard.
Yeah, good point. Bringing it back. You just play this song because, like, nostalgia, you know? If Link wasn't a Deco at the time, I swear he'd be having tears go down. It's like, I failed this one.
Yeah, okay, the moon is about to kill me. I'm gonna play a song and die. But
yeah, you know,
all of a sudden, no, hang on, what happened?
You know, it's all the guys on the Titanic, you know?
Yeah. I'm dying now. This is what I'm
One
going
last
through.
one, boys, and like their tears are going down while they're playing the most beautiful music ever heard by human ears.
Now we gotta go watch Titanic. Thanks.
You haven't seen Titanic? You are bad.
I avoided it. I'm not a good movie person. I don't see movies. I'm too busy playing games.
Movies are just as good as games.
Alright, I'll give you
Promise
that.
you.
I enjoyed Pixels a lot. No one else in the world did, but I enjoyed it.
Okay, okay.
Alright.
I haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna.
Fireally, what are your theories?
What are my theories?
Or
Well,
opinions on?
There is one theory we avoided, and that was that the Ocarina of Time was made out of time shift stones. It actually says that some people believe that in the Historia. I was surprised that the conversation didn't go that direction, which
Because that's like a duh. That feels like a duh to me.
it does. They all have the same color and shape, and you know.
You know, it feels like they made the time shift stones in Skyward Sword just so they could have a material for the ocarina. Because what else in the world is that big and blue besides lapis?
Hang on, I gotta think of one. Vadi is that big and blue.
He's purple.
He's purple.
Okay, close enough. In Ministry of graphics, he looks bluish.
No, you are bad. You are bad.
Speaking of Vadi, I want him in Hyrule Warriors Legends. Get it done. Alright.
I want him in Zelda U.
Yeah.
I want him as the bad guy in Zelda U. Vadi doesn't get near enough screen time.
Vadi's
He's
the
like the
best.
perfect villain.
Do we have any other theories we want to talk about?
Well,
Tangents.
With your little theory, it would explain why Zelda's lullaby can do time travel when Zelda plays it, not Link.
Oh yeah, she plays Zelda's Lullaby instead of the Song of Time for some reason.
Well, that's just because. Who knows? Maybe the song has absolutely no meaning at all. It's just a way for the player to pick what they want to happen.
Maybe it's a placebo for Link. He thinks he's going to travel back in time, therefore he does.
Maybe it wiped his memory, and that's why he had to relearn all the songs.
Well, that's obviously not true because the whole point of the split into Twilight Princess, is that he told Zelda, and for some reason, King Daphneus, whatever his name
King
is.
Daphneus no Hansen Hyrule.
Wow.
No, he deleted the Song of Time and Song of Storms. That's it.
Just deleted those two.
And Epona.
Yeah, and
Possibly,
Epona.
depending on how you play. Yeah, because that's the whole reason Twilight Princess happens, is because the king chops off Ganon before he does Ganon stuff.
Before he does Ganon stuff. Alright.
Which, may I just say, for a point, is total bull hockey and the biggest, and the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a Zelda game. How somehow Ganon gets the Triforce of power because the Triforce willed itself onto Ganon.
Wait, maybe the Triforce exists outside the laws of time travel, and it just says, Ganon got me in this timeline, and he did some pretty cool stuff with it.
Shut up.
Alright.
No, I refuse that. No. Otherwise, why would there even be like a light force in Minish Cap? That's just dumb.
Light Force? Well, that's a different episode for a different day. You can come back.
Yeah, tangents.
Alright. If that's everything, then I guess we'll close. Where can they find you, Jack, Skim, Shadow,
If you Google me, this is the only thing that comes up.
Skim Jab, or Shadow Mori?
It doesn't matter. If you Google me, this episode right here, and maybe my Twitter, are going to be the only things that come up.
What's your Twitter?
I told you, what is it? I think it's Shadow_MORI.
Alright, that's where you go to follow him on Twitter.
It'll be on an annotation on the screen.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Most things happen in the description for me, but we'll see.
If you want to go see my Twitter,
Don't you make a liar out of me.
don't you make a liar out of me.
I'm an editor. I can do whatever I want.
Mwah.
I can get
All
even
right.
like MC.
I'd like a small floating burger with googly eyes from right to left across the screen. Anybody who's watching this that gets that reference, good on you.
I didn't get that reference, so let's see if anyone outsmarts me in the comments. And that's the end of this episode.
I think that's all the theories and discussion that we have today, guys. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in our next episode. Thanks for coming on, Shadow Mori.
You're welcome. The pleasure was all yours.
All right, goodbye.